so keep that in mind.
Yeah, hey, forget I asked.
That'll definitely do.
Ew. Join the Discord.
It was the least fun I've ever had playing this game.
A small but vibrant and extremely humble community.
No, I've seen the sleeves, but I'm like, you said you're suiting up, and then you put your sleeve on. Thank you for saying that.
Because I'm a demon on the keys.
Next thing I know, we're both dead. I immediately left the lobby.
In Vietnam.
What are they playing for? Are they playing to win?
Stay humble.
Stay humble.
I am live. Welcome to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty monologue, episode number 195. My name is Casey, also known as Razanon, and I'm not joined by a goddamn soul. Now, you might be asking, what happened? Well, it's an unfortunate tale. So, very recently, on our last episode, in fact, Tanner and I, my former co-host, had been covering the quality assurance team's strikes against Activision. So they laid off 12 employees. The QA teams thought they were cute. They went on strike. Okay. So we did that. We covered it. It was fine. I slept like a goddamn baby that night, thinking everything was hunky and dory, right? But I wake up today and I have an email from Tanner at thedropshot.com, and the title of the email is The Unionization of the Co-Hosts of the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast. And in the body of the email, it was a strongly worded email, and he told me that the co-hosts of the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast have unionized, and they are now going on strike and they had a variety of demands. Better warehouse conditions, more than 3% income as a raise, not to be called a dumb piece of shit, other just unfeasible, outlandish demands that I, of course, will not be acquiescing to. So all of that is to say, he's on strike now, because he said if the demands are not met, if the demands of this union are not met, we are going on strike. And as the sole member of that union, Tanner is now on strike. And his demands will never be met. So much like Activision, here's what's going to happen. Either he will cave and come back with his tail between his legs, or I'll clean house, fire him, and get a new co-host. So that's why I'm alone today. Because the union of the Dropshot co-hosts has made demands that are unreasonable, unrealistic, and therefore they are on strike because I refuse. I refuse to adhere to them. It completely coincidentally also, Tanner has COVID 21 or 22, I don't know. Tanner suspects he has COVID. He's been sick for a while because he has weak genetics. He's a weak person fundamentally. I mean, if any of you have seen the video episodes of the podcast, real narrow shoulders, real cringe, really. He's got weak genetics, and he contracted what he thinks is SARS-CoV-2. So he's feeling under the weather today, and he was like, he sent me a really, really embarrassing audio message. I could play it for you guys. I won't do that to him though. And said, I just can't do it today. I'm a coward. I'm weak. I lack fortitude of any kind. I lack gumption. I lack moxie, and I just can't sit in front of my fucking computer and talk. I'm too sick to talk and sit in a chair. So that's fine. Hey, you know what? The show must go on, and that it will. So Tanner has COVID. That's why he's not here today. So we're going to do something a little different. Now, the plan for today was to kind of do a State of Warzone, State of Caldera podcast. It was going to be a pretty good episode, actually. It was kind of a broad topic, but it was relating to, like I said, the state of the game right now, and also where it appears to be headed and where we hope it's going to be headed. And I think we might end up doing that episode at a time, But obviously that's not going to be today. So instead of doing that one solo, I'd rather wait for Tanner. I think that's the type of episode that would be good to have both of us on, both in terms of content and format. So instead, I called a fucking audible. I'm an NFL quarterback, really, and I call me Brett Favre. That's a quarterback, right? And I called an audible, and I said, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna try. We've done it once before. We're gonna try it again. A live Q&A episode. So this is a little different from Q&As we've done in the past, because I'm not going into Discord for these. I'm looking right at live chat at thedropshot.com/live for everyone who is here at the moment in time that is now live while I'm recording, not on an app. Okay, if you're listening on an app, you're too late and your question will go unanswered. But if you're here live at thedropshot.com/live, make sure you're following, obviously, then, and make sure it's your homepage, then I will answer your questions. That's what we're going to kind of do today. It's a little bit of an experimental, off the cuff episode, but I think it can be productive and fun and engaging and getting the community a little more involved, and that's the plan. So I will ask all of you who are here live now to, if you have any questions, ask them in chat at any time, and I'll scroll up and answer them in the order that they're received. And I would ask also, keep them related to Call of Duty broadly. So Warzone, Caldera, Vanguard, MW 2222, so things like that, and just keep them kind of on topic. This isn't going to be a broad Q&A like we do for most Q&A episodes. We're going to keep this related to Call of Duty. So that is the plan. That is the goal today. I've got some that have already been asked in the live chat. I will need more, so if you have questions, ask them in fucking chat now, and I'll get to them at a time. So other than that, if you're listening for the jingle, here it is. All right. So if you skipped the announcement, I'm solo today. We're doing live Q&A. So I'm fielding questions from live chat at thedropshot.com/live, everyone's favorite and the best homepage. We have a little bit of a backlog here. That was some questions asked during the pre-show. Going to go through these, and then I'm going to dive into chat right now. So as I said, keep the questions coming. Keep them related to Call of Duty. We're gonna like Bill O'Reilly, like William O'Reilly. We're gonna do it live. Okay, so here we go. Hood Dog asked, "What SMG and primary do you think people will use after the Bren and MP40 nerfs?" This is tough. I'm not 100% sure. For primaries, it also depends on if you're talking about regular BR or Vanguard Royale, because honestly, the best guns in regular BR are still probably not Vanguard guns. Like the C58, that gun is probably better than like the Bren. Maybe it's not, but it might be. And then after the nerf, that's even doubly so. How about the Cold War AK too? These guns are really good. And especially for primaries. And then if you're looking at snipers especially, I still think the Cold War snipers are better than, and maybe even like an SPR, honestly, are better than the Vanguard primaries. Vanguard snipers, rather. So after the Bren nerf, I think people will still want to use Vanguard guns, and if we're talking about Vanguard Royale, then probably any other Vanguard LMG. I think the Type 11's pretty good. I think the DP 27 is pretty good. I'm not positive on that. I don't have experience using every Vanguard gun in Warzone yet, but I would be very surprised if there was no other LMG that's remotely close to a Bren. I think they probably all are. So I think another LMG after the Bren is going to be really good, and they're going to have to do something broadly to the category rather than for each individual gun. They could do things for each individual gun. There aren't that many, but I think the category itself kind of needs a nerf, because using the Bren right now, I mean, it's like a slightly clunkier AR. Doesn't really feel like an LMG. So I think maybe something needs to be done about that. I'm not sure though. I'd have to think about it more. But yeah, like the MG 40, 80, 72, whatever the fuck, that could be really good too. As far as SMGs go, I don't know. I think Vanguard SMGs are going to continue to be meta because incendiary rounds are so fucking disgusting. But I'm not sure. PPSH, real high fire rate, probably going to be really good. The Type 100 or whatever the fuck the SMG is called is pretty goddamn good. The Sten, I don't know. I feel like the Vanguard SMGs, I don't know if this is because I haven't used them that much. It could be the case, but I feel like they kind of lack identity. Like the most beneficial aspect of all of these Vanguard SMGs is incendiary rounds. That's what makes them so good, you know? So it's like, if the MP40 gets nerfed, just you can throw incendiary on any of them. So I don't know, but yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Praying Mantis Princess, what do you think is the best loadout to run in Vanguard and best in regular BR? Well, in Vanguard right now, it's Bren MP40, and then probably like Molotovs and stuns, maybe frags and stuns if you want to get used to that. I think frags are actually pretty fucking good in Warzone because you usually have time to cook a lethal, whereas you don't have that time in multiplayer usually. Frags are really strong. They're really good, but in multiplayer, I never use them because I'm not going to sit here like an asshole and cook a grenade on fucking shipment. I'll be dead before I can throw it. And there's no time. But in Warzone, there is actually. Kind of makes me want to run frags, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. And then, yeah, stuns are stuns. And then perks. Cold-blooded, Ghost, Combat Scout, I think are the best. And we have another question on that, so we'll get more into that in a minute. Best in regular BR. Honestly, a Swiss and a Cooper Carbine with the same perks. I think that's probably like the best loadout in regular BR right now. I'm not playing that way because I'm not a piece of shit, but that's probably an excellent loadout in regular BR because you want a sniper on Caldera. It's a great map for sniping, better than Verdansk was. And the Swiss is still probably the best sniper in Warzone right now. And then you would need a sniper companion. Cooper Carbine's easily the best sniper support right now. So that's what I would say. Yeah. My monitor has an integrated reticle on it. So like on your monitor, some monitors have this setting where you can turn on a crosshair. And like the crosshair shows up on your monitor independent of whatever game you're running. It's like a monitor overlay. Why should I not have that on? Is the question. First of all, you don't need it. You're not playing hardcore, so it's not doing anything for you but adding extra clutter and visual just confusion to your screen that doesn't accomplish anything. If you are playing hardcore, maybe add the reticle. I think that's probably fine, I guess. But if you're not playing hardcore, there's no reason for it because it won't adapt to and be reflective of the actual weapon you're using in the game. I mean, the default crosshairs and reticles in Call of Duty are pretty good. If your hip fire spread's getting wider, it'll be reflected on your crosshairs. And then if it's getting tighter, the same is the case. I don't see a reason for it. All it does is just add noise that you don't need. It doesn't accomplish anything. For hardcore, sure, add it, I guess. If you do, I would have a very small crosshair, dead center screen, that's it. Like a fucking CSGO meta crosshair that's like this big and green. That's all I would do. But not in hardcore, I just don't see a reason for having it. Urban Bigfoot. I know that it matters situationally, but overall, is bursting through a door in Warzone a good or a bad thing? Yeah, like you said, it does matter situationally. Let me think. I mean, there are times where you will want to use audio to bait people. That's something Jacob Down does a lot. Jacob Down does a lot. He'll like be 1v1ing someone in like a little house, and he'll like burst through the front door and then not go through it and like run around to the back and like fucking ADS peek the other door. Or he'll break a window but not go through it. So you could use audio and bursting through doors for that purpose. Really come through, make the noise, and then don't go through the door. It's a good bait. And people will fall for it 8 out of 10 times in general. But if you're not trying to bait people, I don't think it matters too much whether you burst through a door or not. Most of the time you want to get in right away. Because if you're pushing a building and you're considering bursting through the door, what I take that to mean is there's a guy in a window of a house. You're outside. You crack him. You break his plates. He hides in the building to start plating up. That's why you are tempted to burst through the door, because you want to get through as quickly as possible. In that case, bursting through the door is better because it's going to get you there faster so that you have as much health advantage as you could have. Because if I'm in a building and I'm shooting you and you're 20 meters from me and you break my plates and I barely did any damage to you, I know you're about to push my building. It doesn't matter if I hear you burst through the door or not. I'm going to hear your footsteps. And even if I don't hear shit, I'm going to know you're coming, because everyone's going to push that. So bursting through the door doesn't matter. It doesn't really give them any more information than they already have. It does give them a little bit of timing, but if you have health advantage, that shouldn't matter, because you know where they are too, roughly. So it does matter situationally a lot, but if they don't know you're there, then don't burst through the door. Yeah, sure. But by and large, it's not going to matter much, and you're going to want to just get through as quickly as possible. And the easiest way to do that is to just fucking yeet that thing open. So I would say that. Next was from Bulletproof Bunk. Monk, mute. He asked, do you think cold-blooded is meta now with everyone using thermals and combat scouts? So 2 things. Number 1, no one's using goddamn thermals, and if they are, stop. Number 2, combat scout's a good point. And snapshot grenades are a good point too. Although no one's using those either, and I think there's a way stronger argument for snapshots than fucking thermal optics. But because of the opportunity cost, you're not giving up much to take a snapshot grenade, but you're giving up a lot. And, oh, but stuns are so good. Yeah, they are, but there are no buildings on Caldera. You're not going to stun people as regularly on this map as you were in Verdansk. You're just not. So anyways, yeah, I think cold-blooded is absolutely better than any other blue perk in the game right now. Pretty fucking obviously and easily too. Yeah. Combat Scout is so much better now than it used to be. And also EOD is worse now than it used to be. So for those 2 reasons, cold-blooded, which counters snapshot grenades and Combat Scout, is just, it's a free, easy pick for me. I don't even think it's a contest. You're going to suffer so fewer explosions now. And you guys have noticed that. If any of you have been playing Warzone, Think of how many times you've died to an explosion and killed someone with an explosion, and then compare that to when you were playing Verdansk. I bet it's a lot less because there are fewer buildings, and it's way more open, and engagements are taking place at a way farther range. And I'm not going to hit you with a Semtex from fucking 70 meters. It's not going to happen. Whereas in Verdansk, everywhere is a building. The whole map is a building. So explosives were way more impactful in Verdansk because of how urban it was. And in that environment, yeah, EOD is a lot better because you're going to suffer a lot more explosions. But on this map, you're not going to suffer many at all. I don't. I can play for an entire session and not get damaged by a single explosion. In that case, why the fuck would I run EOD? So of course Cold-Blooded's better, because a lot of people are running Combat Scout, as I think they should. And then if you're saying maybe there's something besides EOD that's better than Cold-Blooded, I'd be super curious to know what that is. You could say double time. That's a fair argument. I think double time's better than EOD right now on this map. But then I would say, get a goddamn vehicle. What are you doing? You shouldn't be running around this map anyway. You need to be in a vehicle often. And also, that's it. I mean, quick fix. I don't know. Nothing else, really. So, yeah. I would say Cold-Blooded is absolutely meta because Combat Scout should be meta. And a lot of people are using it. So yeah, Cold-Blooded's easily the best blue perk. There isn't another one that's even close, in my view. So, yeah. There you go. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? What else do we absolutely have here? Let's see. Do you have any recommendations on increasing frames in Warzone? Asks Praying Mantis Princess. Not really. Honestly. Make sure you render resolutions at 100. It's not above that. Make sure you're running full screen dedicated, not full screen windowless. Close applications you're not using. Turn your graphics presets down a fair amount. Absolutely make sure you have RTX off. If that setting turns on accidentally, which this game likes to do, then that will severely impact your frames. And yeah, it's kind of all I can think of right now. But the best way to get better frames is to buy better parts. There's only so much settings can do to help your performance. And you can maybe eke out... You can ruin your frames with bad settings. But if your settings are fine, you're not going to get many more frames by doing anything. You can go into your BIOS and fucking, I don't know, change your config files and overclock your GPU. And if you do all of that perfectly, you might eke out 15, 20 frames, maybe. And that would be a good job. But the biggest impact by far is just going to be the hardware itself. So my recommendation is buy a better PC. Yeah, that's pretty much the best, most clear, and certainly most impactful way to get better performance. Raging Dusty. How long do you think most of the bugs will take to get fixed in Vanguard? I don't think Vanguard's very buggy right now. Honestly. I can't even think of a Vanguard bug. There are probably a couple for sure. But a lot of the problem with Vanguard right now isn't the bugs, it's just the balance and the... Well, yeah, I guess just the balance, really. Well, there's camo challenge bugs, actually. Those are pretty big. I think those will be fixed soon, though. I think most of them will be fixed by February. I think that's what they're going to be working on now before they move on to, like, you know, sweeping, changing, impactful content, which is kind of what Tanner and I have been saying for a while. I would say that. Let's see. Leia, what's the best way to warm up for Warzone right now? That's a good question. You could do things like an aim trainer, like if you're on PC or you play on keyboard and mouse, there's like aim labs, there's Kovacs. These are aim trainers where you can mirror your sensitivity from Call of Duty, put it into a game that's literally built for practice and warm-ups. And that always works really well for me. I always do better if I play Kovacs for like 15 minutes before I start gaming. But it's not like necessary or anything. And if you're on a controller, I'm not sure. I know CDL players will play against bots and turn off aim assist so that they get used to aiming without it for 10 minutes and just shoot at bots, try and get warmed up and get consistent aim. And then before they go into their actual match, they turn on aim assist, but they're used to aiming without it for the last 10 minutes. And then it makes it really easy once the aim assist is on because they're used to not having it for the last 10 minutes or so. That seems like a really smart idea. That's something I would do if I wanted to try really hard and I was on a controller. So I would say those are probably my recommendations. I don't think it's really worth warming up for Warzone, though. Because another way to warm up for Warzone is to play a match. You know, that'll help too. And like, if you wanted to be a real fucking sweat try hard, yeah, you'd warm up in a bot lobby or like a custom lobby with bots or on Kovacs or something. But you know, depends how well you want to do, I guess. But I think you should just dive in, honestly. That's my recommendation. Okay. Hood Dog. In what aspects do you think visibility on Caldera is better? Because I think it's way worse. Only the interiors are more lit, which is irrelevant on this map. Interesting question. Okay. Interesting question. So only the interiors are more lit, which is irrelevant on this map. I kind of agree with you. Insides of buildings are much better visibility than Verdansk. We agree on that. And we also agree that that's kind of irrelevant because most of the game does not take place in buildings. Fair. However, I think outside the visibility is way better on Caldera too. There is more color, and the color of the character model on the background of the map itself is a lot more distinct and different than in Verdansk. So in Verdansk, if there was some guy on my screen standing on the map outside, he's the same color as everything else is on the map. Because Verdansk was all one color, right? It was all shades of one color. So Caldera actually has more than one color, different colors. So when you see someone on your screen, they are usually a different color than the rest of the map. That's one way the visibility is better. It's brighter, and the sky isn't gray. So, again, there's more vibrance, more brightness, and it makes movement easier to see, and it makes them, again, more distinct from the rest of the map, character models. I think what you're saying is you find the visibility on Caldera to be worse than Verdansk because there are more bushes and trees and shit. That's a different point, though. That's not my point. My point isn't that... how do I phrase this? There are more opportunities on Caldera for people who are out in the open to hide than there are in Verdansk because there are more bushes and trees. I concede that. But if on Verdansk you are not behind a tree and you're on Caldera and not behind a tree, I will see you better on Caldera. Even if there are more trees to hide behind on Caldera, when you're not behind one, you're way easier to see on Caldera. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. There's more cover outside of buildings on Caldera, and guess what? There needs to be. Because Caldera has 90% fewer buildings than Verdansk. The whole fucking map is outside. So if you also took away all the trees, bushes, and rocks, then guess what? The entire map would be a football stadium. And then there wouldn't be any gunfights. It would just be a slaughterhouse, and everyone would die instantly because it would be far too open because the map is outside. So I see what you're saying. I wouldn't call what I think you're talking about bad visibility though. It's just there are more opportunities to hide when you're not in buildings on Caldera, and I think it should be that way because the whole fucking map is outside. You need to be able to take cover, and I'm fine with that. Will you die to someone who's fucking sitting in a bush sometimes? Sure, you will. But it's better than dying to someone with 8 dozen claymores on top of a 18-story building that has exactly 1 entry point with restock. Just fucking my ass and never having to leave ever on a rooftop. I'll take it. That bushes are better than that experience, which was the dog shit Verdansk experience. So that's what I'll say. Leia, what are your favorite places to drop in Caldera? I have 2. Let me pull up a map because one of them I actually don't know the name of. So let me see here. One moment, please. Okay. So here's a map of Caldera. So one of them is Beachhead. I really like Beachhead, which is over here. Specifically, this building right here, where my cursor is. That building fucks. There's usually a buy station there. There's very often a chopper there. Maybe it's this building, actually. No, it's this one. It's this one. There's a chopper usually. There's a buy station. There's a lot of loot. It's a pretty safe spot if you land on the roof, even if there are other teams in the area, because there are a number of access points to the roof, but you'll see them all coming. So it's a great spot, and I'm a big fan of that. And then the other spot is here to the west of Fields. There's a bunch of estates right here. And I was actually, I introduced Jax to this location yesterday, this drop spot, because it's fun to fight in. The buildings aren't obscene and having a billion stories, as is the case in Caldera. The loot's good. The fights are fun. And then you can move in a variety of different directions because you're not really at a landmark yourself here. I wouldn't call this Fields. I call it Ralph's, in fact. And so that's a good spot too. These have been my favorites so far. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Praying Mantis Princess, what do you recommend is the best strategy, change it, for the average player in Warzone? I think the best strategy is to land somewhere that you do not anticipate will be very hot, and you almost should not care about ground loot at all. Just land somewhere where there's like a couple things to loot. You don't need a ton of loot, and you want to land away from other people. And then what you want to do is fan out carefully, avoid other people. If someone's in front of you, you got to shoot them, obviously, but try and avoid other people before loadout. Loot up, and ideally what you want to do actually is land somewhere where there is a recon contract and not other people around. And then what you would want to do is land, loot up, get a couple guns, some money, some plates, some ammo, and then buy a self-res as soon as you can. Fuck buying a loadout. Buy self-reses first. And then do a recon. Now, I wouldn't say recon strat. I think it's tough to do the recon strat in a team environment, especially on this map, because if you're doing a recon, everyone on the map can see the flare. That wasn't really true in Verdansk. But like everyone knows where you are. And if there are some demons in your lobby, they will chase that flare. Most of the people I play with, we will do that happily. It's like, oh, we know there's someone there. Let's go push them. So I think doing a couple of recons is fine, but trying to do the recon whole strat, it does get difficult, and it's hard to navigate that. And if you're an average player, I don't think you should try. I think you should land somewhere without people, loot up, do a recon before loady though, and then you know where the next rotate's going to be. Go to your free loadout, buy another one, and then play traditional BR style, honestly. Rotate into circles, rotate early. That's especially true in Caldera. Rotate early. Do not take fights in circle, because the gas will kill you. It will move faster than you think, and you will die. Don't try and, oh, let me just kill this team before we go in. Wrong. They're going to escape, and then they're going to zone you. So zone them instead. Get in early, always. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of what I would say. It's about being conservative and staying alive and playing safely. And I think rotating early, getting early intel by doing a recon, landing away from other people, these are all safe plays that's going to allow the average player to get as far as they can, I think. So that's what I would say. Let's see. Survivor 21. Favorite gun to use, not necessarily the best. Huh, that's an interesting question. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure I have one. I'm assuming you mean Vanguard guns, because my answer to this will always be the Ram. The Ram is so fucking fun and satisfying to use. I love it. I love how it recoils because it's so easy to control on a mouse, and it's fucking free. And the Ram has always been my favorite gun in Warzone to use. But in terms of Vanguard guns, I don't think I have one yet, really. They, you know, I don't know. I have a lot of guns I don't like to use, but in terms of guns that are like really fun and really satisfying to use, I don't think I've used one yet. I guess I would say the Bren right now, but that's only because it's fucking insanely good. So of course it's fun to use, but not because it's a interesting or unique gun. It's just an LMG that chunks fucking hard, has infinite damage range and very little recoil. But that it's not interesting. Like it's not. It wouldn't be my favorite if it wasn't good. That's what I'm saying. Whereas like with the Ram, it's my favorite regardless. So I don't really know. I don't know. I'd have to think about this more because I think there is an answer and I just can't think of it right now. So I'm not sure. But yeah, there you go. King Thanatos, out of the last 3 CODs, which one do you enjoy the most? MW, Cold War, or Vanguard? Vanguard. Easily Vanguard. So easily Vanguard. In reverse order, Vanguard is the best of the 3. Cold War is second, a distant second, and then MW is a further distant third. MW is a terrible dog shit game. It's trash. It's bad. It's not fun. It's not good. So many awful design choices. The worst Call of Duty in a long time. Cold War was not good at all. It was uninspired. It was uninteresting. It left... I have no emotion whatsoever for Cold War. It didn't leave a strong impression on me in any way at all. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I scarcely feel indifferent about it. It's just a game. It was uninspired. I think that's the best way I can put it. And then Vanguard's pretty good. Vanguard's pretty good. Good maps, fun gunplay, gunsmith's cool. Yeah, Vanguard's easily my favorite of those 3. Urban, who's your favorite squad member that you regularly run with in Warzone and why? That's an interesting question. Favorite squad member. Lag Show, probably. Lag has excellent comms. He'll stick you with the res, and when everyone dies, he'll buy everyone back every time. Lag Show is the fucking... He's the Chad. He's the Chad that will just keep everyone on track. Knows where to go, smart rotates. Yeah, I would say Lag Show. He's the team captain. He's the team captain. Let's see. What else do we have here? Go Crazy Jax, YouTube. What Vanguard gun would you like to see be meta in Warzone? Ooh, interesting. I'd like a fucking AR to be good, Jax. I know that's a crazy proposition, but it's almost like Cold War again, where ARs don't matter in a Call of Duty video game, which is just outrageous. But there really isn't like a great AR right now in Warzone in terms of Vanguard. So I would say un-AR, probably the Volk. I think the Volk being meta would be really cool because it's fun and interesting in Vanguard multiplayer, and it's not all strengths. Like, it's not like the MW M4 on launch, where it's just good at everything. It's not like that, but it's still a strong gun with like a unique identity. It's got like a decent amount of recoil, but it's got a good fire rate. It's not too much recoil. It's controllable, and it's got good damage too. I would like to see the Volk become the Vanguard AMAX, and I think it could fill that role. But right now, it's pretty dog shit. Mine's not fully leveled, so I haven't tried it yet, but I never see it. I suspect it's because it's got too much recoil. I would like to see that become like a Vanguard AMAX or a Vanguard C58. I think that would be fucking cool. That's what I would say. But if not a Volk, then an assault rifle from Vanguard would be awesome. So, yeah. Nutty Beats. I've been on the bar and the Cooper for weeks in Vanguard. I want to switch to the STG. What are the best STG attachments? The same as the best attachments for every other gun, I would assume. So the silencer that reduces aim down sight time, Carver foregrip, extended mags, lengthened ammo type, polymer grip, fully loaded plus brace or whatever it's called for accuracy or recoil control rather, a stock that helps your recoil control. The optic, I don't know, either the 2.5x or the 3/6x or 3/6x probably. I think the STG has little enough recoil for that to be better. And then what attachment am I missing? And then the barrel that helps your recoil too. I would say that would be the best if you're using it as a primary. And if you're using it as a secondary, stop and use a Cooper carbine instead. Okay. Resprez, what is / was the full auto gun you had the least fun leveling up? The Owen gun, because no matter what mag you put on it, you can't see half your goddamn screen, and it's incredibly annoying in multiplayer. When someone's right in front of you, 1 extra degree to your right, and he's just not on your screen anymore because your giant fucking poorly constructed gun magazine is inside of your face. It's like I'm a pirate, dude. Yar har, matey. It's fucking Razanon with the Owen gun who has 1 eye. Fuck that gun. Yeah, that one. Easily. So goddamn annoying, dying to people I should not die to because I can't see them. Because the British don't know how to make fucking weapons. So cool. The Owen gun. Easily. Worst gun in the game right now? Fucking, I don't know, man. I'm gonna assume you mean primaries. The Itra Burst. Probably. It's probably the single worst Vanguard gun right now. Hipfire. Is lengthened always the meta ammo type for ARs? If they are going to be your primary, I think yes. We covered a True Game Data video where he was making an argument for incendiary versus hollow point, primarily with respect to SMGs, but he was also saying, like, I like to run incendiary on most of my primaries too. I disagree with that, especially on this map. I think sacrificing bullet velocity on Vanguard guns, which don't have great velocity already, is a mistake, because there are a lot of times where I'm shooting people pretty goddamn far away and I want as much velocity as I can eke out. So if the AR is your primary, I think Lengthened is always the ammo type. Yeah. I can't see many guns where that wouldn't be the case. It would have to be a gun that has default insane velocity that is so good that you don't need more. And I don't see that really ever happening unless it's a bug or you know, an oversight. So let's see what else do we have here. Sage Legacy. When you get on for the day, do you play certain game modes like Plunder or Resurgence to warm up? Or are you just a god when you run Caldera? I'm just a god when I run anything, Sage. But no, I don't warm up. That's kind of like what I was talking about with Leia earlier. If I wanted to be a real meta fucking sweat, I would play Kovacs for 15 minutes. I would play MP Control Ward's trademarked signature. Friend of the pod MP Control Ward. I call him Max. We're on a first name basis. Partnered Twitch streamer, by the way. Wildly successful, famous, young man. And once again, friend of the pod, first name basis. I'll play his custom Kovacs playlist, which takes 10, 15 minutes. And then play Warzone. I always play better when I start with that. But I rarely do it because I don't care enough. I'll just play one match, and then I'll be warmed up enough. So yeah, but I will certainly not play fucking Plunder to warm up. No, I don't think for me it's not worth it. I don't think it's worth it for anyone unless you're gonna be in a fucking tournament or something, which none of you are. So yeah, I don't think it's worth it. Let's see. Sage Legacy again. Do you have any ideas how I can get my Rebirth Randy cousin on the BR grind? He says it's too slow and won't try and speed it up by rushing. Honestly, no, I don't have any ideas because he's right. BRs are fucking slow, dude. If you're a multiplayer main, if you're used to COD 6s from 8 years ago, and you've never played or liked BRs, there's no way to just like make an argument for someone to just start liking things they don't like. I don't think there's anything you really can say. You can turn him on to streamers, and if he watches enough like Caldera streams, he might be inspired and then want to play himself. But it's going to be slower than Rebirth, and it's going to be way slower than multiplayer. And if that's how he likes to play, if he's an ape, then you're not really going to be able to convince him, honestly. I don't see any way you could do it. That's something he's going to kind of have to come to terms with himself. But if you're the only person he plays with, tell him, hey, fuck you. We're not playing Rebirth today. I'm making you play Caldera, and then we can alternate what game modes we play together. But we're not playing fucking Rebirth every single time. And then maybe he'll grow to like it. Because I will say this, here's what you can do. If you can force him to play regular with you, and you get a win, he's gonna like that. He's gonna like that feeling. It's deeply satisfying to win in Warzone. Especially if you don't play BRs often. It might be his first win. He's gonna be like, fuck, that was fun. My heart was beating out of my chest. I pissed into my pants. But I won, and like the stakes were so high, it was so cool. If you get him a win, you can maybe get him hooked. So, but you'd have to make him play enough to get a win in the first place. So, yeah. Yeah. Let me take a fucking fat gulp of water here. Hold on. Just the fattest gulp. Oh, MP's here. What's up, dude? See, he said, thanks, Casey. I swear to God, MP, I'm scrolled up. I didn't even know you were here. That's funny. And like I said, we're on a first name basis. He said, thanks, Casey, which is, of course, my first name. I appreciate it, man. You're welcome, dude. That's funny. I literally did not know you were here. That's fantastic, though. All right. Let's see. Okay. Urban Bigfoot, if you're planning to win, do you hunt teams with ground loot or do you wait until loadout? I mean, if you're playing to win, you wait until loadout, yeah. I would, unless your ground loot's really good. Because the problem with fighting another team with ground loot, if everyone has ground loot, it's possible their ground loot's better than yours. So, it depends. I mean, if you have like a green MP40 and like a nice Cooper carbine, or like the green STG with the red dot, yellow dot, whatever, and then maybe you can go fight them, and because that's good ground loot, and they're probably not gonna have anything better than that. They can maybe have like a blueprint with more attachments. It's not really gonna be better than a fucking green MP40 though. That thing fucks. So I would say if your ground loot's good enough, you can fight them. But if you're playing to win, if your only objective is to win, don't fight anyone you don't have to. I mean, that's the real answer. Of course you don't fight. You don't push anything if you really want to win. Well, you very rarely. Sometimes the best play if you're playing to win is to push a team. But that's late game. That's very rarely going to be a situation you'll find yourself in before fucking first loadout drops. So I would say avoid them, honestly, if you just want to win. But yeah, that's what I would say. Hood Dog, do you think Vanguard weapons lack proper ARs? Yes, I do. Kind of. There's not a single low recoil, reliable AR like a Kilo or Grau in Vanguard. You can use low cal ammo in most ARs, and make them lasers, but the damage will be massively penalized. So I think this is an interesting question, because I think there are two aspects that you need to take into account. So do I think the Vanguard ARs should be as accurate as anything we've had from MW or especially Cold War? Absolutely not. I think the FARA with plus 110% recoil control, where it literally doesn't move at all, firing at full auto, dumping 60 rounds, and where you started aiming is where you're finished aiming after the clip is emptied. Dog shit. Magazine. Dog shit. Trash. Dumb. Skillless. Cancer meta. I hate it. I don't think ever we should return to the days of when the GRU suppressor and the field agent grip were first buffed, and you got 100% perfect recoil control on anything you deigned to throw them on. That was not fun. It was fucking dumb. It was an absurd, obscene meta. Whoever saw the other person first won always, because you never had to control recoil ever. Being in cover doesn't matter, because if I'm on a head glitch, but every gun doesn't have any recoil, they'll just rip you off of it, no problem. There's no skill. There's no fun. Everyone dies instantly. Dog shit trash meta. And I'm so glad we are not there anymore. So I will start by saying I'd rather every gun have too much recoil than not enough. So number one. So should the Vanguard guns be like a fucking FARA? No, absolutely, categorically not. However, I think the Vanguard ARs in general do have too much recoil, especially for this map. I think the recoil needs to be toned down across the board for every Vanguard AR, maybe every Vanguard gun, period. Not SMGs. Maybe every Vanguard AR. Well, the LMGs don't have that much recoil. So maybe it is just ARs. I'd have to think about that more. But at a minimum, I think most ARs, they just need less recoil in general, especially on a map like Caldera that's so open, where you're taking gunfights at fucking 70 meters all the time. Especially if you're on a controller. I mean, how the fuck are you going to control an NZ41 recoil at 70 meters with your thumb? It's just not possible. You're not going to hit anything. So I think the recoil needs to be toned down for these Vanguard ARs. But none of them should be like, as you suggested, a Kilo or a Grau. Maybe one of them should be. So maybe you have the STG be the Kilo or Grau option. And it has the least recoil of all the guns, but it also should have the slowest time to kill to offset that advantage. That would be fine. But they shouldn't all be like a FARA, like we had in Cold War. that would be bad. So I think there's somewhere in the middle that where we need to meet. But it is a travesty that Vanguard ARs just suck dick right now. And they're only good for sniper support. And people talk about the long-range Cooper carbine. Fuck you. It's not good. Every LMG is better. It's a dumb thing to want. And I get that you want to use an assault rifle in a Call of Duty game. Hey, me too, brother. But guess what? It's worse than every fucking LMG you can use in Warzone right now. Stop it. It's a disaster. So, yeah, that's what I would say. And calling down is not a correct solution, as you pointed out. It's not worth it. If you cal down give it no recoil, well then, I mean, your time to kill is 5 minutes, and that's just unacceptable, obviously. So, yeah. Jax, of the last 3 CODs, which was the hardest and which was the easiest mastery camo? Ooh, that's a good question. Cold War was the hardest because you had to get fucking long shots with the China Lake Thumper. I don't know what it was called in that game, but it was actually, that was very hard, but it wasn't the hardest. The hardest challenge was you had to get launcher double kills with a launcher where by the time you reloaded a rocket, the double kill window had expired. So you either had to get 1 kill with 2 kills with 1 rocket. I don't remember what the rocket was called. You had to get 2 kills with 1 rocket, which was not possible because if someone is full health, you have to literally direct impact them to kill them. And if they have flak jacket, even a direct impact, I don't think killed them. So you had to literally like shoot a vehicle and blow it up, or you had to happen to hit 2 people that were very weak and kill them both, or you had to play hardcore Nuketown 24/7 like an asshole and then quickly melee 2 people with that launcher to get double kills, which is how I ended up getting Dark Matter. That was the easiest way. That's how absurd it was. So Cold Wars was the hardest for literally that reason alone. And I haven't gotten Atomic, so I can't speak fully to how difficult the mastery camo in this game is. But it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to get mastery camo in this game. It's just kind of time consuming and annoying. And that's kind of the same way with MW too. None of the MW camos were particularly difficult to get, except maybe the Riot Shield, like 3 kill streaks. But even that wasn't that hard. Go to hardcore, Camp B, Shipment Dom, melee people as they spawn in front of you with the trash dog shit spawns in that game, especially on that map, and then you can get it. So I don't know. I think MW and Vanguard are probably like roughly equal. Cold Wars was infinitely more difficult though, because the Treyarch devs are just insanely stupid for those goddamn launcher challenges. Yeah. So let's see. What else do we have here? I did get the headrest, Chris. Yeah, it fucks. Yeah, good recommendation, brother. Thank you. Let's see. Until Chaos. When you say late game, what ring? Don't call it a ring. It's a circle. Okay. It makes me uncomfortable. Are you implying? And what do you think is better, Bertha or a chopper? Okay. I'm not implying a particular circle. Until Chaos change it. I don't know though. There probably is a particular circle where late game starts. I think that would be fair to say once it's this circle, not ring, then we have entered late game. I think that's probably a fair thing to say. I don't know what circle that would be, but I think that's probably fair. Maybe 4th, but I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it. But late game more implies whatever circle it is, it's fairly small, and there are fewer than 10 teams left. That's late game. I think, like, yeah, fewer single-digit number of teams left, you've entered the late game. Almost irrespective of what circle you're on. But those things are going to be very strongly correlated, obviously. So, and what do you think is better, Bertha or Chopper? It's actually not that absurd of a question, because some of you might be like, oh, that's absurd. Of course the fucking chopper is better. But if I'm playing solos, even though there aren't choppers in solos anymore, I think a Bertha is better in solos than a chopper, because a chopper is pretty fucking easy to destroy. And if I'm playing solos and there's 5 people left, we're in late game, and some asshole is flying around in a chopper, I'm just going to mag dump it repeatedly until it's disabled. But with a Bertha, you can't see it from everywhere on the map like you often can a chopper if they're not good pilots and they're not flying low to the ground. And also it just has way more health. So I think in solos, Bertha is better, but that point almost doesn't matter because there aren't choppers in solos anymore anyway. So in 2s, 3s, and 4s, chopper is better, especially on this map. With how vertical and how difficult it is to traverse this map, chopper is so fucking strong. Chopper was better than Bertha in Verdansk. That's even more true now in Caldera. Because being able to fly, I mean, go vertical is just so fucking strong. It's so good. And you move faster too. It's also the fastest moving way around the map. So yeah, chopper. Let's see. Yeah, MP, I know. What's up, Face Esquire? Have y'all been experimenting with initial drop spots other than fields on Caldera? Yes. Leia asked what my favorite drop spots are so far. And we've kind of gotten away from fields, sort of. So one of them is Beachhead. This building fucks really hard right here. It's usually got a buy. It's great loot. Oftentimes a chopper spawns there. And if you land on the roof, you're pretty safe. Even if there are people around you. That's probably my favorite drop spot. And then another place I was showing Jackson and co that I've discovered is, I call it Ralph's. It's to the west of Fields. I wouldn't call it Fields, honestly. Because it's just to the east of Airfield, Airstrip, whatever the fuck. It's like a bunch of houses in like a little circle. Good loot, fun fights. None of the buildings are OP. And a lot of money and a lot of loot. And you can go a lot of places from here. You can go Airfield. You can go Fields. You can even go mines. And depending on where buy stations are, enemies are, contracts are. So there's you have a lot of options once you're done with this spot to kind of play the game depending on what's going on around you. And that's kind of one of the weaknesses of the Beachhead spot, is you really don't have anywhere to go from here. You're kind of forced toward like Fields, basically. You could go toward Peak, but you're not going to because you have a brain. And then Runway, you know, I don't know. There's nothing going on here. There's really never a reason to go there. So you could either go toward like sub pens, which again, not much going on there. I very rarely find myself there. Or, like I said, you're kind of forced, if you land Beachhead, to rotate Fields. So that's one of the advantages Ralph's has as a drop spot over Beachhead. But, yeah, I would say that's my favorite drop spot. All right! That's it, boys and girls. For those of you who are here live, thank you for your questions. Those were very good questions. I actually really enjoyed this episode. I'm surprised at the caliber of these questions, honestly. That was a really interesting question from Hood Dog on why Vanguard ARs are not good, and kind of examining that, I think, was really interesting. It was something I hadn't really thought about that much, so I'm glad I got that question. But a lot of these questions were good today. So thank all of you for the input. Thanks for being here live. Thanks for the questions. Yeah, the podcast a little short today, but blame Tanner for having weak genetics. It's his fault. It's not mine. And an hour is a lot more taxing when you're solo than when you have a partner, which I of course don't, because Tanner abandoned me because he has weak genetics. So other than that, boys and girls, that is it. Patreon.com/thedropshot. Best way to support the show. 5 bonus episodes a month. January 29th, once again, is going to be episode 201, our 2-year celebration anniversary extravaganza. We have a lot of goodies planned, surprises planned. We have content, we have revelations, announcements, and extra incentives for those of you who are here live. So January 29th at a time, episode 201, 200 episode celebration, 2-year celebration. Get the day off work, be here live, and stock up that fridge with alcohol. You alcoholic, degenerate pieces of shit. That is it, boys and girls. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Have an excellent evening, of course. As always, remember, stay humble.